Well, I was born in Nashville, Tennessee, but I moved, my family moved to Tuskegee. So I grew up in Tuskegee, did my formative years, grades 1 through 12 at Tuskegee, and finished Tuskegee Institute High School, where I graduated, fourth in the class, uh, out of about 125, and then I received a scholarship to go to Fisk University, where I elected to major in music. I always had an interest anyway, and attended there 4 years, finished in music, and then I was fortunate enough to earn a Woodrow Wilson Fellowship, where I went to the Eastman School of Music in Rochester, New York, and earned my Master's of Arts degree there. And then, of course, I came back, went to Talladega and taught for a while, Talladega College. Was there for about 12 years. And then I decided I need to get my doctorate. Well, I wasn't old, but I didn't want to get too old where I couldn't accept the challenge and the discipline. So I decided to go to the University of Iowa to study for my doctorate. And of course, I went for one thing, but ended up having to do another. I've always been interested in arranging and composition and all that, and had my own bands even when I was in high school and even when I was at Talladega. But I found out that no one tell me you had to have a portfolio. So when I got there, I just said, okay, I want to do the next best thing, which was majoring in music theory. So I ended up with a master's degree in music theory and a PhD in music theory. But all the while I was a part of very prominent choral groups where I was there and got a lot of experience there. And so when I came back to Talladega, I was already kind of doing the choir, and I maintained doing the choir there. When they told me they wanted to be the college choir director, I said, well, I know my credits went there. And so they said, well, will you do whatever's necessary? I said, I'll go to every convention, every conference. And so I went to everyone that I could and learned from people who were already in the business. I knew Mr. Dawson was still alive at that time, and worked with him. And then when I came back here to Talladega, I stayed there about 3 or 4 years, and then I left and went to Lincoln University of Pennsylvania, and I was there about 4 years. And then I left there and came back to Birmingham to be the minister of music at one of the largest churches there. John Porter was the pastor at Church 6th Avenue Baptist there, and I was there about 4 years. And then I left there, came up here in 1990, and I've been here ever since.
Beautiful. Wait, and I'm one of the victims of that also. If one of my children came to me and said, Dad, I wanted to major in music, most of us, in light of engineering and other things, would probably give them a lot of grief.
Yeah.
Why is music still a viable entity, and why should students still pursue careers in music?
Well, I will say this, sir, that the pursuit of music was very enjoyable. I was already into it. I think you need to have a love, you need to have a passion, and you need to have a willingness to want to learn. I still feel that I'm a student of music because I learn new things, new techniques, new things that's happening in terms of new software. And there are different ways people are making music. Some of my graduates, they're just composing and arranging those little small measures, and they're selling them to some of the people that will buy them. So there are always new areas because the craft, when you really get into it, is constantly evolving. But I do feel that you need to have some talent, and you need to have a commitment, and you need to have a passion for what you're doing, because you can't stay in this business and really do what you do unless you have a passion for it. That keeps you going. It's like lighting a fire. What can I do today to make things better than I did yesterday in terms of performance, in terms of your ability to teach? All of that is important. So, you know, it's not like people, they go for the big 6-figure salaries in engineering, and then that's good if you love it. I say stay with it. But if you, my dad, he was a radio and TV repair person, coming radio, and he said no. I said, well, should I be pursuing electrical engineering? He said, you don't love it, and so I don't want you to go. You need to go into what you love and stick to. So I did that, and he loved music as well. So I'm glad I stuck to my guns and stayed with what I started out with. But meanwhile, you know, I've been choir director, I've been minister of music. Still have my own dance band that I do, and of course I've been here and fortunate enough to have been the director of this renowned choir for about started in 2003-04. So it's been about 20 years now, and so I'm glad I did.
Tell me about the choir. Some of the university choir has always been a prominent fixture on the Alabama A&M campus, and you have taken them literally all over the United States.
Well, we haven't gone to some of the places we wanted to, but we have been some places. We've been east, we've been over the central United States, and we've also been south to perform. One of the things that I wanted to do when I found out that I was going to do it, at first kind of just was doing an interim, but once I got into it, I wanted them to be recognized. I went to all these conferences, and you never saw black choirs. But you have to get in, you've got to pass the audition test in order to be selected. And I don't know how much politics was involved, but eventually we got a chance to go to New York, and we performed in Rockefeller Center, and we were performing in the Alice Tully Hall. That was one of the highlights of our career. We did that in 2014, and we got a chance to perform on that stage. It was supposed to have been a concert where we joined in with other choirs, but because of the cost of everything, I didn't want Alabama A&M to go there and not hear its choir by itself. So I said, we want to perform by ourselves. So they told us what it would cost. They gave us a limited amount of minutes, about 28.5 minutes we had to be there. And so we did that. That was one of the highlights that we did, because we had to prepare for it. And we had another concert in Boston the next day. That was the fun. We stayed a couple of nights. It cost us a good bit of money. We had to raise it. We had to raise money, but that was one of the highlights. But we've also been very fortunate to go to cities like St. Louis. We've been there a couple of times. Obviously, we've been to Birmingham. We've been to Tuskegee. We've been to Atlanta once. We're trying to get a chance to go there again. We've been to, especially in Detroit. We've been there. We've been to Chicago as well. So those are some of the cities that we've been in. We haven't been out west, although I will say Mr. Tucker, Richard Tucker, who was a very prominent conductor of this choir when I first got here, when I came here as chairman, took the choir to Los Angeles, and they did a very fine job out there, and I happened to go along on that trip. So the choir has done outstanding things. They've had some outstanding singers here, and some of our better music graduates have come from this group, as well as our Marching Maroon and White Band.
Speaking of the Marching Maroon and White Band, their prominence, you should have saw me Thanksgiving morning, just grinning and smiling. Tell us about that, the Marching Maroon and White Band, and leading up to some of the performances they've done.
Well, you know, when I came here in 1990, the band was the talk, was always the talk. But since they've been here, I've been here, they've moved to directors. Arthur Wesley was a director when I came, and then of course he retired. And then of course we had Mr. Yates, who was one of the assistants. He was here for a short while. And then we got Carlton Wright. Since we've been here, he's taken them to all kind of places. HBCU, they got a festival they're going to, where the orchestras are going to meet up. That's coming up very soon. And when they got this opportunity to be in the Macy's Parade, you know, they flew down here and did all of that. That was just a really capstone experience for us, because it got our name out all over the world. And I'm sure we all were very proud that day. But even before then, when when Mr. West was here, the leader of the Rose Bowl parade came down here one year. They flew down, and that's how we got a chance to go to California and be in the Rose Bowl. And that parade was very good for us. Although after we did all that sacrifice, it rained the whole time we were there. But it was still a good experience for us, and a feather that we will always keep in our cap as one of the milestones in this program, music program at Alabama A&M University.
Now, your department handles, in addition to music, you handle communications and telecommunications. Tell us about that major.
Well, that was a major that came along a little bit later. We had music and then we had art. It used to be the Department of Fine Arts. Once they decided to add telecommunications as it was started, they changed it to the communications media. And that program started here, moved into this building, and then once we hired some key people, the program has really, really grown. Let's see, Marge Robinson came in first. We have an undergraduate program now with 2 concentrations. One is into performance, and the other is into programming, where the students or the majors learn how to use the camera, learn how to interview, this that we're doing now. They also have a program that goes kind of into the athletics department, learn how to film sports scenes and that kind of thing. We also have a master's program here. It's called Communication Specialist Program. And it takes various concentration areas, like you can have communication specialists in business, communication specialists in actually the communications area. And we also have another concentration in athletic management. And so we have 3 programs. That's the graduate program. So that program is going by leaps and bounds. In fact, the department is the largest program in this department right now. And then music is next. And then, of course, we also have visual arts in the program as well.
So it's multifaceted.
Yes, sir.
And I heard the phrase, start here, go anywhere. I guess that fulfills that motto then.
Well, yes, because now we have all these different areas, and of course, even in our visual arts program, they're going. The graphic design program is growing, and we hope it's going. We are planning on it to be larger. They're going into animation and all that kind of thing. So that kind of moves that, and they also have studio art. So that's going in these different ways. And of course, we're still here in music. We have 5 concentrations now here in music, and we're getting ready to add commercial music. Because we realize what students are doing, so we're trying to structure it so that the student can also receive a Bachelor of Music here with a concentration in commercial music, as they can do now. Music education, we have piano pedagogy, we have performance, if that's what they want to do, perform. We have a concentration in performance, and then we have one in general. We also have one in piano pedagogy, and so we're trying to give students more of a menu from which to concentrate in. But they got to be serious if they want to do well in these particular arts, and they can start here, as you said in our motto, and go anywhere.
Do you welcome the challenges that young people bring?
Yes, although those of us who perhaps as old as I am and older realize you still have to have discipline in these arts. You still have to work, and there's a such thing as called excellence and quality, and we want to maintain that. I think we have to be a little bit more sensitive now, because students come from so many different backgrounds, and some of them need obviously more help than others, as we're molding them to be not only the talented people in the arts, but also to be good citizens for the communities or churches that they're going to be a part of.
And last question, what is your forecast for the future for your department and for the university?
Well, I think the university is going to continue to grow. I just left a meeting where they were talking about they're expecting about 7,000 coming to center. But that means we're taking in more students, but also that means we got to build more housing, and all that's going along with it. But a lot of these students are first-generation students, and we would like to have them here, but we're going to have to be more than a person that's just in the classroom. We've got to be caring so that we exhibit the quality, the integrity, and the character that what it means to be really educated. We want them to know to get all the knowledge that they can from us, but we've got to care for them. So the university is going to be growing. There are all kind of plans for new buildings, new science building, that kind of thing. And so I think we will grow, but I think we want to grow with all the promises that we have and be sensitive to the various kinds of students that we're taking in now.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure, sir.